Cheers. I'm sorry. This is
Last year, Liz and I went to the F3C conference, and we took the photo walk with Art and loved it. So that's when we talked about saying, let's get Art up here and do the whole thing for our club. So
And
Art
not only
Becker,
is he a
thank you.
photographer, he's also an artist.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
There
Don't,
you go.
don't be telling people that.
Okay.
All right. All right.
We're going to see different perspectives.
What?
That's right.
We're going to see a different perspective today.
100%. Yes. Okay. My name is Art Becker. I'm a commercial photographer. I've been doing this on May 10th, it'll be 45 years as a full-time working photographer. I've gotten to travel. Okay. Before I was a photographer, I went to a tech school, high school in Erie, Pennsylvania. That's where I grew up. And in Erie, it's cold and wet and snowy all the time. So going to a tech school is extremely important because it gave me 4 hours of academics and 4 hours of an elective. So I took art, obviously. I had an incredible teacher who you'll see a photograph at the end of this. His name is VJ Kaiser. And I went through school and he changed my life. He literally changed my life. He's the one that suggested you meet with seniors and he said, what are you going to do with your life, kind of thing, And he said, well, I'd like to go to art school. And he says, well, your painting and drawing skills at this point are okay, but your ability to see light and composition are the best I've ever seen in a student in my whole life. He said, if you picked up a camera, you might be pretty good. And the light bulb went on. I went from driving a forklift at a GE plant in my hometown to art school the following Monday. And I worked my way through college, God help me, and I got through school, and I took a job in Miami as an assistant, and I started my career from there. And it's been a hell of a ride and an amazing job. And I'm very, very fortunate. I've gotten to travel all over the world. I've photographed ex-presidents, President of the United States. I've got to photograph the Pope. I've got to photograph rock stars, and from CEOs to Jack Welch to former President Clinton. Recently, somebody asked me if they could use one of my photos because apparently he's gotten himself in trouble again. Duh. Anyways, so I photographed anything and everything, and advertising. And the reason it's seeing beyond a literal, what I learned really early on is you have to be able to think outside what everybody else is doing. If you're going to be successful, whether you're doing it like I do as a profession or you're doing it for fun, you have to think outside, because if you want your images to be seen by those and you want to enter competitions and you want to go out and you want to photograph all kinds of things, you have to look at it different. Now, a couple of you are birders, and I know this. And Kathy and I got to know some birders. We got invited because I took a group of birders, and I did what I'm doing tomorrow morning, which is I walked around and showed them what to look for, light and composition. And of course, turnabout is fair play. And these group of birders dragged me and Kathy on a swamp buggy in Kissimmee. And here's what I learned about birders. They're crazy. But they're very good photographers, and they're a hell of a lot of fun. And we've made some really good friends from them. So, and then they handed me this really big lens, which is a 600 millimeter, and wanted me to prove myself in this swamp buggy and see if I was any good. Now, having photographed sports, both Major League Baseball and the NFL, I photographed the Super Bowl when it was in Tampa, and so in Orange Bowl and larger games and things like that. And so yeah, I was able to get some pretty good bird shots, and they were shocked. But I like birders now. I thought they had their issues, and they do. They carry little pamphlets with all these bird names, and that's a little strange for me, but that's okay. All right, now, that's enough of my background. It's uncomfortable talking about yourself. Okay. This image is made at the Henry Plant Museum in Tampa. I was there with one of my students, and I have students different parts of the country. I teach 6 Zoom classes across the United States, and I also teach individual students in Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Sarasota, even further down. So it's a lot of fun. So this is an image, and no, that's not Photoshop. That's real streaming light cutting through the window. My student was on the other stairwell, And she said, "What are you photographing over there?" And I generally, you'll see me tomorrow if you're going to be with me tomorrow. I never photograph when I'm with the student, but I could not shoot this. So this is the light streaming through. Now the crop on this on the edge where the circle is at the bottom, which looks like a part of a chess piece, it crops tight in this version, but it's not really cropped that way. And it's a little less warm than it's showing on the screen. But it's real and it's not Photoshop. Not that I don't use that, but this is not. Next. Okay. Now this is an image made at a blues and jazz fest. I photograph a lot of live music and live event music all over. And I've been very, very fortunate that way. You're never going to see colors like this in all the textures. I was standing in the pit. You know what the pit is? The pit is the part at the front of the stage. When you're standing in the pit, you're photographing. Now what you're doing is you're standing in front of the men and women who have paid $800 to $1,000 to be in the front row. And then they get some dumb photographer, me, let's say you're there, and this is me. I don't do that. I don't. I stand to the far left, stage left, or stage right. I never get in front of somebody, and if I do, I look over and go, "Excuse me, just a moment." I lean in, I get my shots, and I lean out. In this particular case, this was not in the pit. I left the pit because usually the opening act, a band, is not very good. And they play the first 2 or 3 songs, and they're off. The bass player's behind, and the drummer's not catching the tune. So I left the pit. I saw this woman from about maybe 25 yards away, and I couldn't believe the colors and the textures. So I politely walked up. I asked her if I could take her photograph, and she preferred not to have her face in. I do have her face in some, but I used a shallow depth of field because I wanted to get that focus on just that piece. Now, if you look at the screen here, it's not as harsh. You can see that. Some of you can see that from here. You always want your work to look how it looks. Next, please. Everybody always tells me what flower this is. Plumier, is that right? Plumeria. Okay. This image was made while I was waiting for twilight. I was doing an architecture shoot in Miami, and I was waiting for the twilight to happen, and I saw this great shadow. If you look, the shadow on the lower left, just above the flower on the further left, you can almost see like a bird reflection. I like the play of light and shadow. One of the things I do as a photographer when it comes to black and white is I make sure that I have all my midtones. So in other words, I expose for the highlights. So everything falls into place from a tonal range. As a photographer, that's an Ansel Adams thing. You have to get all those tones in. And once you get a black, and a white, all the tones fit in dramatically. Go ahead. Okay, this is of all unlikely places. I was with a group of high school students in New York City. This is in Times Square. Times Square is like daylight at night. And everybody was photographing all the people and the dancing cowboy and some naked woman in the street and all this stuff. This is a wet parking meter. This is a stock image. If you don't know what stock photography is an image that exists, and you sell the usage of that image. I think I've sold this about 17 times now, 17, 18 times now. So it's just a standard stock image, but it's abstract. It's looking at things in a different way. Go ahead. This is the Orlando Eye. The Orlando Eye is a really large Ferris wheel in Orlando near the, God, I don't know what road that's off of, but it's really huge. It's beautiful. And I was there photographing architecture that night. And of course, what's a photographer to do? When I'm alone in a hotel, I'm not with Kathy, Kathy's not there, I walk out, I go outside after I photographed all day and look for things to photograph at night because I'm bored. I don't want to watch TV because it's boring. So unless there's a sporting event on. And so I go outside and make photographs. I laid in the parking lot to get this shot. And in the afternoon, as we all know, it rains in the afternoon, the sky gets black and dark, and it's kind of cool. So the sky got dark, but it stayed dark. And as long as it got darker and darker, I was able to get that highlight. And the quote in the ad is, "Don't worry, you won't fall." Because when you're in these things, they swing back and forth. Go ahead. Can you see that well? Can you see, is it too dark?
You want to lift it?
No, that's fine right there. I guess it's okay. Can you see that okay? Okay. Okay. Do you know what this? Okay. 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 The reason this picture was made is because when I was a kid, my father used to take me to the barbershop on Saturday mornings, and it was $3 for me to get a haircut, and they give me a shave with a hot towel, and it reminded me of that old shop that I used to go to with my dad, and that's why this image was made. It looks like it's pixelated a little bit, but I used a bottom of an old Coke bottle, and I photographed it through there. So that's where the texture came from. Yes, I carry that in my camera bag. Don't ask why. It's a long story. Go ahead. All right. This is my Aunt Laura. My Aunt Laura is 106 years old. And she just turned 106 in November. And when we spoke to her on the phone, she didn't remember who the hell I was. And then Kathy said the name Artie, which is my name as a child, a kid. And she knew exactly who we were. She knew me. She knew my kids. She knew my kids' names. She knew Kathy. She knew everything about me. And what did I ask her? I said, "What are you doing today?" She says, "Well, right now I'm putting on my bra." I need to know that. Now, I said, "How are you doing?" She said, "Well, I still have all my own teeth and I can go to the bathroom all by myself." At 106, that's a good thing. She attributes her memory loss, as she says, to the COVID shot. And every time you talk to her, she talks about it. Well, she's repeating herself now. However, this is when she was 104, and I asked her what you attribute to living a good long life, and she said, "Don't worry." She said, "My faith. Don't worry. Enjoy your life, and take one moment at a time," which I think is great. Go ahead. This is, man, those are harsh looking. Okay. All right, it's fine. You know what? I like what you did. Thank you. You did great. Okay. This is yes, that's a train track in Erie, Pennsylvania, my hometown. And I was back there to photograph for the railroad. And they wanted something coming at you. I don't know if you know this, but a train drafts. So if you stand too close to the rail, it pulls you in. So I have another shot in my portfolio that's not here, but it kind of pulls you in. So I was standing there while the guy was beeping. He was pulling his horn. I couldn't figure out what he was pulling his horn at. It was me, because I was standing on the track. Yes, my wife doesn't always like those things. Okay, go ahead. Okay, this is at a women's football game. Women have football teams. I didn't know that. So I did about 2 or 3, a season or 2. And one of the women had a concussion. So they took this towel and they put it over her head. And so I had there was a little bit of drip to it. So I thought that was made for a unique photograph. Now, think about this. There's a football game. The stadium's about 10,000 people. They're all cheering and yelling. There's all these things going on. There's me photographing this, and I turn around and see another shot. So I turn around. There wasn't quite enough water dripping off her head, and there was a cup near there. And she's got a concussion. It's not going to really hurt her. So I added a little bit of water for the extra drip. Yes, I know that's wrong, but you're laughing, so it can't be that wrong. And I got the drip. I posted on social media, which I don't always like, but I posted on social media, and a friend of mine in New York City saw it. And he said, "Hey, Art, we have the Gatorade account. Those are the same colors. Send it to me." I sent him the image, and 2 months later, Gatorade bought it. No. Yes, I didn't. Yes, I shared the money with her, and she was happy, and her head was fine. Go ahead. Okay, okay. This is a ska band. This is Angelo Moore. His head was smoking because the stage was hot. and the air was cool. It was at an event called Grape Jam, which is the thing my friend used to run. And if you look at the shot, it's better here than it is there. So, okay, go ahead. This is a new ad. I just did this. This is in downtown St. Petersburg. And you can see it, the screen here, if you look at it, it's a nice clean shot, and it's done well. If you want to see other stuff, you can see that certainly. And this was done, Transform Your Look. It's called Art Pool Rules. It's a place in downtown St. Petersburg on Central. And it's a really cool, they sell vintage clothing and records and things like that. And we had to get something, and they used to use, I'll show you a series, they used to use mannequins. And the reason they use mannequins is because the owner doesn't have enough money from real models. So finally she has a little bit of a budget now, so we can use real people. Because photographing mannequins is creepy. Okay. All right. I'm a huge baseball fan, terribly. And so, in fact, I did a book for minor league baseball. And I had this idea, because it was a quote for a place called altposters.com. And how this image was made is I called a friend of mine who's the manager for a major league club. And I said, assistant. And so now I said, I want you to send me some baseballs. He goes, what the hell are you doing now, Art? I said, just send me some baseballs. So instead of packaging them and he just threw them all in the FedEx box. He grabbed a bunch of balls that they were used in practice, and he threw them in the FedEx box and sent it to me for the next day. And I received those in the FedEx, and I was able to take, and if you look at the baseballs, really look at them, each one has some signatures and some dirt and grime, and it made for a shot. And then they used a quote by Babe Ruth, which I thought was kind of cool. Go ahead. Yes, that's a polar bear sticking her tongue out at me. Now, how did that happen? At first, I didn't know their tongues were black. Secondly, I couldn't get the polar bear to react. So you know those little white rocks, little white rocks that you put in your gardens and things like that? So I started throwing them across the moat, not at it, but towards it. And for whatever reason, she stuck her tongue out at me. Now, I don't know why. I can't explain it. I can't explain that the zookeeper and Scott Mitchell yelled at me, but I didn't hit the thing, so it was okay. Now, during COVID, somebody asked me, do you have any photos that might make kind of a fun mask? I put this online. I sold 58 masks in one day. Because nobody wanted to wear those things, so I thought it was kind of interesting. Go ahead. Play of light and shadow. I love black and white images. This is a fun picture. And oftentimes I'm photographing architecture, interiors and exteriors, and while I'm there, I'm photographing stuff like this. This is when the creative director's in another room and I'm playing. This is my playtime. Go ahead. Okay, this is in Pleasant Hill. Pleasant Hill is in Kentucky, and it's a Shaker village near Harrodsburg. The Shakers were a sect. And the reason there aren't any Shakers anymore is they were celibate. Also, the reason the Shakers have so many patents is they were celibate. Kathy and I were going to Kentucky. I made a deal with the people who own Pleasant Hill. The deal was, I'm going to photograph from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Then I'm going to spend the entire day with my wife, and then I'll photograph from 5 p.m. to twilight. And I said, I'll do that for 3 days in a row, and I'll get exactly what you need. This is just one of the many images that I did there. And the only thing I had to change is there was a guy walking his dog in the middle, so I had to drop that out in Photoshop. But other than that, that's natural light. Go ahead. This is in Clearwater, going across Coachman Park, which is in Clearwater. It's a new park, and it's an amphitheater. It's really quite neat. And this little bridge, and this is the play of light and shadow. I got there early in the morning. I was teaching Ryan and Nick, and I got there in the morning because I had seen it from the car. Now, Kathy will attest to this, I'm driving down the road oftentimes, and I'm always looking off the road at other things I want to photograph, and I make note of those things, not when I'm driving anymore. I let Kathy do that, and so I find this location. And it's got the nice bend and the nice feel to it. Go ahead. This is at Sunken Gardens, a place that's kind of an interesting little park that's got these huge trees and plants and colorful things, and they have flamingos and all kinds of stuff there. It's a cool little place to go. Go ahead. This was made for UPMC. UPMC is out of Pittsburgh, for Hammett Medical Center, which is in my hometown. And I was working on their annual report when I lived in Florida, so we went back, and they had this program where they helped new moms, new parents, a little bit financially, and they wanted these pictures taken inside their house, which is typical, the mom holding the baby and stuff. It was boring, so I said, why don't we come outside? And we walked outside, and they were bringing the rest of the crew for the film part of it. The mom just grabbed the baby. I clicked the shutter, and this is the cover for their annual report that year. Half the battle of making great photographs of people is being in the right place at the right time and the right light. So this is all available light. Do you have any questions so far? Really?
How did you light the baseballs?
The baseball is lit with a strobe, a Paul-C buff, and just a simple one reflector. Yes, sir.
Art, early on you had a black and white photograph with the flowers.
Yes, sir.
And you made the comment that of getting the full tonal range from black to white. Could you expound on, what does that mean how do I do that?
Okay, in post, after you click shutter, I'm going to take it and I'm going to make it, when I photograph in color, I photograph everything in color and then tone it, then do it later. I don't do it then. And then I take it and I get a black, and a white. Because if there's a black, and a white, all those tones, all the gray tones will fall into place naturally. So I underexpose all my images from a third to a full f-stop. So my images are more saturated color-wise, and they're deeper, richer images when you're doing it in black and white.
So in the camera, you actually underexpose it by
A third to a half stop. Now, again, I shoot in manual mode almost 100% of the time. I know it's a challenge, but it's okay. Yes, sir.
On that photo,
Yes.
that was not posed, you didn't
No.
direct her or anything?
She just picked up the baby. I clicked the shutter. They came back out. They did some walking photos, which are boring. And they did some other photos, which were way boring. And he said, did you get anything? And I said, yeah, this is the shot. This is the cover. And he goes, well, I'm not going to repeat what he said. Holy blank. Okay. See, Kath, I don't have to use those words. Go ahead. Yes.
I know you use various lenses.
Yes, sir.
But with most of these, is it 24 to 70?
24 to 70 or an 85 or a 20. Sometimes the wide angle lens for architecture is usually a 24 to, no, it's a 20. No, it's a 21. It depends on the camera. I shoot Olympus and I shoot Nikon. Okay.
A lot of Olympus people do.
Olympus is a 7 to 14.
Is it? And they make an 11 to 22, and they make a 14 to 54. There's all kinds of stuff. Go ahead. Oh, that's up already. Okay, that's in Tampa. That reflection, it gets so hot here, which I still like. And so I would take a hose, those pocket hoses, those are the coolest things ever. So I take it and I wet it down so I get this perfect reflection. That's not done in Photoshop. Everything was done manually. And as we all know, in the summertime, if you take a hose out and water down anything in your yard or anything else, it dries like that. Well, I just kept hosing it down, and then take a squeegee. So when the client walked out, he went, whoa. So the client liked it. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
What is a pocket hose?
A pocket hose. You know that stupid thing that they advertise, and it winds up about this big, instead of like a long hose that you grew up with, and you had to wind it on the dumb thing your mom and dad had. Yeah, they're a little hose, and it's curly Q, and I can throw it in the back of my car, which is
fabric and it collapses.
yeah, it's great. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, next to watching our children being born, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I photographed open heart surgery, and I got to see a heart. I never in my whole lifetime ever thought that would happen. And this is at Hammett Medical Center. I don't show that heart picture because people get kind of squeamish. So I don't show that any longer. But this is a heart surgeon. This is Dr. Starolka. There was two doctors, two heart doctors. One is Dr. Starolka and Dennis Mahalik. Dennis Mahalik was a raving lunatic and kind of rude to the nurses. So when I photographed him doing open heart surgery, they wanted me back every day because he was much nicer when I was there. And Dr. Starolka, if I ever have heart trouble or any of my family does, he's the man who's going to do it. Say that again?
Was that your heart they were working on?
Oh, God, no. There's a person called a perfusionist, and they take the heart and they slow it down. And I kept doing this. Actually, just before this was taken, I kept leaning. There's a little footstool they gave me, and I kept leaning like this. And Dennis said, Dr. Straka said, Art, get off the stool and come over here and get your damn look. And I went, oh my God, it's the coolest thing ever. Go ahead. This is nest eggs. This was for TD Bank. And my grandson, Alec, our now 12-year-old grandson, he was 7 then, and we saw this duck fly up. My daughter works at Publix, and the duck flew up. And he goes, Pop, what's in there? I said, let's go see. So I took him by his legs, and I held him like this, and he leaned, he goes, it's eggs. He goes, Papa, take a picture, take a picture. So I leaned in, and I said, Alec, you got to wave the duck off because it's going to come at us. He goes, what? So Alec's like going like this. The duck's kind of going like this. And every time, this will be used first part of Alec's college fund because it's a stock shot. Go ahead. All right. Live music is about passion and expression. Exposure is one thing. Staying out of the way is one thing. But being at the right place at the right time and getting this kind of piece of a drummer. Drummers are tough. Drummers are in the center. You have to lean in a little bit. There's lots to do. There's lots to see and lots to say. But this is the cool one, and I like this one. Go ahead. This is in Merida, Mexico. Merida is in the Yucatan Peninsula. I did an essay story. I was in Mexico for, what, a week and a half? And I spent time there. And the edifices of the homes in Merida are just like this. There's maybe 3 points of Photoshop. So if you look here, it's not this contrasty. You can kind of see it here, and you can see it slightly better here. And the colors are really crisp. That's the way they dress their homes. And so I walked around early in the morning before I would go out to do my essay story for the magazine, and I would photograph these essays, these little edifices. And one of the mornings I went out, and the Mexican consulate stopped me. This is a man with an M16, and he said, "Can I see your you have a travel thing?" I was like, "Oh God!" So I showed the guy, and he goes, "Okay." And he goes, "So you can see a camera." He said, "Photograph me," or I can't say that in Spanish. I don't know in Spanish. And so they called me Arturo. So when I would walk by their house a couple times, because they're in the same neighborhood, Arturo, good morning. So they I befriended them. Go ahead. This is, no, it's the bridge going over from St. Petersburg to Paso Grill. And the next image, that's a great bridge. If you guys get to St. Pete, you call me on the phone. It's an incredible bridge. And underneath the bridge is the next shot. It looks like a cathedral. And it's such a great thing. Now go back to the last image. There was a man and a couple of guys, and they created the wake in the middle, like right here. They created this wake, which I thought was going to ruin my shot. And they started to say something to them, and they were in their boat because they were fishing, and I wanted to photograph, and they were ruining my shot, and I wanted a perfect reflection. And they actually made it a better photograph, so I was happy with that. Go to the next one.
That's cool.
And it's a lot of fun, and you can see it's stronger here. Go ahead. This is the Cardinals in Rome. Shortly after after making friends with the head of the Swiss Guard, I got to go in a security car while the Pope was coming. And as soon as I got there, the Pope mobile, and the first thing I asked is, what would I ask? Can I go in there? He goes, no, So they let me up front, but these are the cardinals waiting for the Pope because the Pope was late. I don't ask why. I don't know these things. Go ahead. Up close and personal, as close as I am to Liz. Bingo, right there. I leaned in. Not a telephoto lens, just leaned in because I had access. That kind of access is the coolest thing in the whole world. Go ahead.
So sucking up is important, is what you're saying.
Sarcasm is important. Humor is important. Sucking up and humor and sarcasm, the combination of. Yeah, Kathy puts up with me every day. Okay, this is for GE. Now, bear in mind, I was a forklift driver at GE before college. Then I got hired by GE to photograph for GE. So when I met Jack Welsh, who was the CEO at the CFO or CEO at the time, they wanted to do a shot for Labor Day, and they hired me to do this. Now, if you've ever been around a welder, you wear leathers on top of your shoulders and down here so that when a spark comes flying at you, it stops it. Well, it doesn't stop it. I had a scar. So yeah, it comes through. So this is done specifically for GE. This is what kind of car? What year? Come on. 57 Chevy. One of my faves. You can even see me here, right there. See my camera in my hand? I usually take that out, but I didn't. This is the original. I love classic cars. Go ahead. This is an ad for Feeding America Tampa, and it became Feeding America nationally. They asked me to do a shot, and I volunteered my time. And they had this grand idea with the groceries full of all kinds of things and all kinds of groceries. And I listened to the pitch, and I said, you know, no, I don't want to do that shot. I have this idea. I have this idea for the shot, and I think it's going to be great. So I got a hold of Publix, and I just used one of their shopping carts because it has the same green as their logo. Unfortunately, their logo is, Publix logo is just a little more green, so we changed that a little bit. And I just want an empty cart because that's what Feeding America is. It's an empty cart. And I volunteered my time, and that became a national ad. Go ahead. This is for DCI. Anybody know what DCI is? That's right. I used to go to Drum Corps, and I used to go to that. They had something called Lake Erie Fanfare, and I would photograph that. And then I got to meet some officials from DCI because they told me, you can't go on the field when they're marching. And so that's how I met them, because I was on the field where they were marching. And they said, well, sure I can, but I won't. He goes, if they run into you and you get hurt, you're liable. And I said, all right, what are they going to do? He goes, Art, trust me, don't get in their way. So I would still walk between them. And this ad said, we play heavy metal. Now the next one, go ahead. That is actual shadow, no Photoshop, all captured in camera. I have two shots like this, and this is the better of the two. DCI is great. DCI is like the major league of marching band music, and it's incredibly fun and just a blast. And our daughter, as a result of her tagging along with me, became a band geek, and she played in the marching band and did very well. Go ahead. This is in Gulf Shores for the Regency Hotel. I did a stint doing aerial photography out of a 172 Cessna for about a year, 13 months. And this is as close as you could get without Corey wanting to kill me. Corey was my pilot. And I said, I wanted to get the obelisk exactly perpendicular. He said, can't you just turn it in Photoshop? I said, don't be a pain in the ass. So we did 3 passes. The first one I missed. The second one I was close. And the third one I said, Corey, slow it. So he slows the plane down a little bit. You can do that in the 172. Slow, boom, 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 boom. All done in camera. Regency Hotel, it's used for an ad now, which is cool. That's all done in camera. Hanging out of a 172 Cessna with a window open.
And what was that lens?
Oh, that was a 12 to 100. That was Olympus. Go ahead. This is our beautiful granddaughter, Brooklyn, when she was younger. And of course, she wasn't paying attention to me. And she knows when Papa's around, there's always going to be a photo to be taken. And this is the stock shot. She's got great eyes. Go ahead. This is at the, what's a museum, Kathy, in downtown Tampa? Milton Glaser Children's Museum. I had Alec, our grandson, stand up above where the spiral staircase is and stop all the children from coming down so I could get my photo. Alec is my accomplice very often, so we always have fun together. Go ahead. This is a little bottle that Kathy usually keeps in the bathroom with little flowery whatever things. And of course, when she was asleep and it was early in the morning, and we used to live on Tampa Bay, and we don't anymore because those wonderful hurricanes are really fun. And so that's her glass that I took out and put it out there and disarranged everything and kind of created, because it was a tranquil morning, and it's a stock photo. Go ahead. This is Kathy had bought me a book on Edward Degas. This image was made, I was standing on a ladder. This image was made on film. This is a very old photograph in the 90s, 94, 95. And I made this photograph from a ladder. Last year, I've sold this picture 80 times. It sells every single year as a stock shot, every single year. And it's very Degas looking, and then I became a kind of fan of his paintings and his work. Go ahead. This image was made at the Tampa Bay Blues Festival when I was getting bored with the band that was on stage. And I left the stage, and I saw this little girl peering out to listen to the music. And I clicked the shutter. In fact, they did something really silly. I don't know if you've ever tried to Photoshop people's fingers. I thought maybe I could add her fingers because her fingers were inside this little thing. Don't do that. It's a bad idea, and it doesn't work. Even with the new AI thing, it still looks silly. I like this picture because it's seeing the world through the eyes of a child.
What do you do about photographing children? I mean, do you find the parents and ask if their permission?
99% of the time, I click the shutter and then ask.
Okay. Well, because the moment takes.
The moment happens, and I click the shutter, and then I approach them. If they say, I wish you wouldn't use that for some reason, then I delete it immediately and show them it's on the LCD screen. It's gone. I want to be respectful. Photographing kids in an open area, especially in today's society and the way things are, you can't really do that. Good question. How are we doing time-wise?
What time is it? It's 7:15.
7:15.
We're good. We have to leave with chairs up at 7:45, and I bet we can push it to 7:50.
Okay, that's fine. This is at the Cloisters in New York City. Anybody been to Cloisters? Go to the Cloisters again if you get to New York City. I went to the Cloisters. I got off the wrong subway terminal. You had to walk through this tunnel. That's in Hell's Kitchen. It's in Harlem. Not a good plan late afternoon, just saying. Okay, so there were three little pots, which were here. There's 1, 2, 3. That's why there's discolorations here. And I moved the pots. I leaned across this thing, and I moved all these pots. And the guy said, I'm sorry, are you the new maintenance guy? No, I'm the guy who's moving those because they look ugly. And so I'm going to make my shot, and then I'm going to put them back. And he goes, sure. Because, it's just a photographer thing. So I moved the pot, shot the picture, and I said, hey, look. And he goes, it does look better, doesn't it? I said, yeah, it does. He goes, yeah, but now I'm going to have to clean it. And I said, well, I mean, isn't that what you do? And it's an interesting conversation. Go ahead. This is Eddie Henderson, jazz trumpeter, Lincoln Center, jazz player, West Lincoln Center, and a great guy. What is, did I drop that, or my wife's handing it to me?
I thought maybe you might need it.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I know why you're doing that. Okay, and this is a picture of him. I did a whole series of him. He lives in New Jersey. He's a psychologist and a jazz trumpeter. Good guy. Go ahead.
Did you get the light? I mean,
Okay, that's just extreme depth of field and a little bit of stage lighting. Thank you. Go ahead.
So the backdrop on the stage was green?
Background was green. It was behind. That's depth of field. Me stand. I often have the opportunity to stand on stage, as long as I don't stand in front of the performer. That's all that really matters. Go ahead. What is this? Come on, look.
Paul Klee Museum.
What is it?
It's at Paul Klee Museum.
No. What is it, guys? Come on. You're a photographer just like I am. What is it?
Oh,
It's a what? Okay, what it is, it's a bucket of paint at a printing shop. This is the label. See the label? See the handle? And see the wet paint. I was there. I unintentionally set my camera bag down, shot this picture, and the owner walked by. Now, at the time, duh, there's wet paint everywhere. Duh. So I had wet paint. I had paint in my face. I had paint in my hands. I had paint in my camera. I had on the edge of my camera, I had a big, and he goes, Art, I'm paying you really well to do this. Why the hell are you shooting this bucket? And I said, because it looks cool. And he goes, you artists are so weird. So he walks on by. I finished the job. I'm done. I'm packing my stuff up, wiping the paint off my face, and everything's fine. He goes, show me that picture of the paint thing. And he looked at it and he goes, whoa. I passed that every day for 15 years since I've owned the shop. How come I don't see it that way? That's what I'm talking about. Seeing beyond the literal. You in this room, every person in this room has made a photograph right now. Everybody in this room sitting here has made a photograph that is different and unique because of the way we see things. It makes us different. Different in a good way, not different in the way, but different in a good way, in a positive way. And it makes us more interesting, and our image is more interesting. So when you're out photographing, whether you're with me tomorrow or you're never with me again, I want to see your pictures. You can send them to me, you can email them to me, text them to whatever it's going to work. Try something different. Just think outside of what you normally do. Get outside of your comfort zone. Once I got outside my comfort zone, I started to make money. It's kind of funny that way. These are good. Go ahead. This is Samantha Fish. Samantha Fish is a blues guitar player and very good. And she started playing backstage. And then she said, Art, give me something good. I said, just play. Just play. And she just started jamming. And this is the resulting. And this is on a Nikon D850. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Almost every photograph you've shown of a person almost looks like it could be a painting instead of a photograph.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Okay. I'm a lot more painterly than most photographers because I came from that before I was a photographer. That's why. Essentially, I expose in a way that is a little more saturated color-wise, a little more intense black and white-wise. It's just the way I see things. It's the way I see the world. When I walk around, I was at Heritage Village the other day with a student, and I kept pointing out things that were abstract, and she goes, I can't see that. Well, you're looking at the same thing I am, but you got to look at it beyond it. What I'm talking about is look at beyond what you're seeing. So that's how that happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you can do it.
It's more just like you said you oversaturate the foot? Is that what you said?
Okay. I take saturation not in Photoshop, but in camera. So because, again, Photoshop didn't exist, so I had to do lots of things to get to where I wanted to be. So I'm going to underexpose. I'm always underexposing the image, never overexpose. I hate them. I delete them. So it gives me that saturation. It gives me the kind of color I'm looking for. And then I add, sometimes I'll slow the shutter down to add a little bit of movement. This was when Kathy and I we drove up the Pacific Coast Highway. We drove from flew to San Francisco, rented a car, and we drove up to Santa Rosa. And from Santa Rosa, we drove up the Russian River. Kathy's mom had just passed away, and we needed a trip, and we were going to meet Alec when he was born. So we drove from San Francisco to Bend, Oregon. You know how far that is? It's way farther than you think. And we drove up the Pacific Coast Highway. We stayed in Guerneville. Guerneville is where every hippie on the planet lives at this point. And so you get what I refer to as a contact high, because it smells like one big rock concert. It's a cool little town. And we went to a place called Armstrong Woods, which is like Muir Woods Light. But it was a cool place, and it's usually about an hour and a half walk, and 3.5 hours later, me stopping every little nook and cranny and Kathy taking pictures, and so that just looking up the redwoods.
What's the lens on this?
Huh?
The lens.
Love it there. It's a great place.
What lens?
Oh, I'm sorry. This was a 17 to 24 to 17. 17 to 24 Nikon D800. Go ahead. This is in one of those period houses. You know how they have this little like rope thing, that says don't go over that rope? Well, that's a suggestion for us photographers. So I inevitably, you can ask my wife, will step over the rope or move it. So this lady came in who worked there, and she said, "Sir, did you see the rope?" I said, "Yeah, it was in my way." And she said to me, "Did you touch the lamp? That's like some fancy lamp, like it's very expensive apparently." I said, "You didn't buy that at Walmart?" Or she goes, "No, and I'm going to get in trouble." And I said, "I'm already done." I said, "Can I light it?" Because I didn't want to use Photoshop to light it. And she goes, "Can you just leave?" So then when she looked at the picture, because I saw the rays, and she goes, "Wait a minute. How come I didn't see that?" Because you don't see what photographers see. It's just the way it is. So we should be thankful for that kind of stuff. Go ahead. This is at Tampa Bay Downs. And yes, the number 5 horse won. I was training one of my students how to photograph in motion. Now, we did some movement and things like that. And I just hung on the rail and leaned in and waited. Because every half hour, they have another race. So you've got a fair amount of time to get your shots. But rarely are you going to get this kind of separation, which was good. Actually, the 7 horse almost beat the 5 horse, but he did not by a nose, as they say. So go ahead. This is one of my favorite places in the world. It's the Warner Theater in my hometown. It was built in 1931. And when they redid the Warner, they spent $11 million the first time and $22 million the second time. They brought me in and hired me. They gave me 3 things. They gave me the alarm code and a key to the place. And all I had to do was photograph anything I wanted for a book on the Warner Theater. That's all I did. And it was a great job, and it was a lot of fun. In fact, they hired a guy named Brian Sheridan who did he did research and wrote, and Barb Hauk wrote some too. And that's not HDR, but if you look at the image, it looks like it's HDR. That was taken with an Olympus. I don't remember. I think it's that might have been a 11 to 22, I think, or something like that. Go ahead. This is I was standing in Jasper, Alabama. Please, if you go there, don't. I got stuck there for 3 days, and I was standing on the runway, and this guy flew in this beautiful jet. I was standing there admiring his jet, and I said, "You're a private pilot?" He goes, "No, I was a private pilot. I made more money than I ever believed. So I bought this jet, and I do angel flights. Angel flights are when they fly people who have a serious disease. He flies them all over the United States. He has the entire crew." I said, "Would you mind photographing? Would you mind me photographing your plane?" He said, "Yeah, but you have to take the tail light out." Now there's a better version of it because this is the first version of it. And I said, "I'm going to do it in black and white." I brought strobes out onto the thing, plugged them in, and lit the whole thing up. It was a lot of fun to do. Go ahead. This is in Merida, and this is the cover of the magazine. This is his sister's skirt right here, or her blouse. and her elbow. This is his older sister's arm here, and he leaned out. I leaned in 50 to 200 Olympus and DSLR E3, and kind of leaned in, did my shot. They wanted me to take the part mark out on the right side of his face and a little mark on the other side of his face, and I refused to. And this is the original, and it's not quite this warm, and it's a better shot there, as you can see. Go ahead. I went out with a friend of mine who recently, he died last year. His name was Dale Hanna, and we would go photograph it together sometimes. And on Saturday morning, we went out, and we weren't getting very much. And I had a little bit of fog, and I saw these black walnut trees, and I pulled over very quickly and was able to get this shot. I like shots like this. It's a good stock shot, but it's fun to do. Go ahead. This is done for a Fortune 500 company in Tampa, Florida, and they wanted these skies. I did a book, not a book, I did a presentation on Florida skies because I think they're different here, different than where I grew up. And because most of the skies where I grew up can be nice, but usually it's gray. So I made just photos, and I added this little frame thing to kind of play with it. It's in a boardroom, and one of the attorneys, who I will leave nameless, you know, those attorneys with the billboards on the side of the road, not Morgan and Morgan. Go back. Go back.
Oh, I'm trying to go back.
How far did you go back? Go next. Thank you. This is Jose Guillen. Okay. See the baseball? Right here. I did 106 shots, and I only have 4 that are any good. I wanted to get the batter with the kick up, the ump ready, the catcher ready, and the ball in the shot. Over 100 images to get that. And this is in a book called Time Stops, a book about baseball. Go ahead. You're never going to shoot another photograph like this again in your life because you're never going to see these guys. The play was at home plate. The guy was on third. Everybody jumped up watching the play. The guy came off third base, slid in, and they won the championship. The only thing I always look at every single time is this guy has a really big head here, and his head was in the way, so I hyperfocal distance here. Because if his head was here, every time I look at this, I would crop it out. So that's the shot. I love baseball. Go ahead. This was taken at the Tampa Bay Blues. Blues. I met this woman in the crowd. It got cold. It got down to 50. I was walking through Vinoy Park. I saw her and started laughing because she was covered up. So I was laughing. I said, "Are you really that cold?" She goes, "No." And she pulled this poncho down, and she had oxygen. She had cancer. I sat down in front of her and started talking to her. I talked for about 15 minutes. I clicked the shutter one more time. I asked her if I could take another picture. I clicked the shutter. I said, "I'll send it to you." And I said, "I'll see you next year." She goes, "I'm not sure I'm going to be here." She meant alive. This is the last photo ever made of her. 2 weeks later, she died. In her phone was this picture. Her daughter called me and said, "Are you Art Becker?" Yada, yada, yada. I said, "Yeah." "Did you take?" I said, "I did." "How was your mom?" She died. This is the last photo ever taken of her. I want you to think about this. When you go out to photograph a person, whether it's portraits, somebody does portraits, where are you? A portrait photographer? No, you do. But Nancy does. And okay, guess what? The photos you make, whether they're street photography or whether they're this kind or your family, or doesn't matter. It's invaluable. It's invaluable because you don't know if that's their last moment in life. It's amazing, and it's kind of pulls at your heartstrings, but it's important to what we do. Go ahead. This is at the Bug Fest. The Bug Fest is not bugs like in Florida bugs. It's in Volkswagens. I'm a Volkswagen fan, and this is done. It almost looks like it's leather. It's not. It's just that patina rust, And the Bug Fest is such a cool event. Kathy and I go to it every year as long as we can. And it's just old Volkswagens in all different shapes and colors and sizes. And it's just one of those shots. Huh? Oh, it's in Plant City, Florida, and it's in November. And look it up. You will love it. I think it's like $15 to get in, and you can walk. The food's kind of cheesy, but you can. It's a really cool thing to photograph. Go ahead. This is it. I volunteered my time at the Erie Zoo, and then I made this photograph. And then when Kathy had her salon, Hair Potpourri, we use this. Are you having a bad hair day? Which I like. Go ahead. Yes. I'm sorry. This is real. She lives in St. Mary's, Pennsylvania. As soon as she got off the tractor, she said, I already like you. And I said, why is that? She goes, you're the first damn photographer that didn't stop me from mowing. They always stop me and want me to pose. You just kept photographing. She said, are you thirsty? I said, I am. She said, let's go have something to drink. She went, and I'm not making this stuff up. I'm sitting on the porch after I clicked the shutter a handful of other times. She got up, she went in, the screen door slammed, she went back out, and she brought out 2 beers. Here I am sitting on the porch with a nun having a beer. In my lifetime, never did I even conceive of that ever for any reason. And then I took my camera, which I always do, and she said, Art, if you take my photograph, I won't kill you, but I know people, and I'll have you killed. She has this over her bed. I sent her a new trucker's cap. She said, I took a vow to wear this habit, so I wear it in whatever I do. And her new hat says, who farted? Which she wears very proudly. And every year that she's alive, she sends me a little text and a little picture that she shot as a selfie of the hat and her. Go ahead. This is the Tampa Bay Shrimp Docks, another place that you need to go in Tampa. If you get to my area, please show up. I will go there with you. We'll even go there. It's a great place to photograph. It'd be a great outing. I'd have to get permission, but it's a great outing. And this is early morning, about 7:20 maybe, 7:30, because right now 7 because daylight savings time's on Saturday or Saturday night. So this is early in the morning. Great place to go. All right, next. This is not posed. I didn't see this woman carrying this baby this way. My wife did. She said, look at that. I said, look at what? Kathy noticed it before I did. So I, in a very creepy way, followed this woman through the crowd at an art exhibit festival thingy. And finally, she kept stopping at yogurt places. It was killing me because the yogurt places were going to ruin my shot, you know? So finally she stopped someplace where I could get a shot, and then I just added a little sepia tone. So if you look at the shot really carefully, it's more like this. Can you guys see this here? Come over here. Isn't it a much better shot that way? Do you like it better this way? Yeah, me too. But Liz is a champion. She rolls with the punches. Okay, go ahead. Yes, baby tiger. This is a female baby tiger at the Erie Zoo, and I got to pet the tiger. Took her paw and took my hand and pushed it down. A year later, she would eat me. It's the coolest thing ever. Little baby tiger got like this close, 14 to 54 Olympus. Go ahead. This is Florida Polytechnical University off of I-4. If you've been there, don't miss it. You can walk around there and photograph all day long. It's a great place to photograph. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. The shadows are everything. The architect is a famous architect, and I can't pronounce his name correctly, but you can look it up. But what I like about him is I said, geez, I waited almost a year after it got completed to make some photographs. And how's our time? Good? We okay?
About 5 minutes.
Okay, so I made this photograph, and when I was done with the photograph, I approached them. And the guy said, look, I've got photographs coming out my butt. You want to send them? If they're any damn good, I'm probably never going to look at them. 2 weeks after I sent them, I got a phone call. The architect who designed this building loved them because I understand the play of light and shadow. Go ahead. Sorry. This is Lou Nicola. He died of COVID, and he's a friend of mine, played at Carnegie Hall. And no, that's not Gandalf. Go ahead. This is just a little abstract kind of thing. 2 chairs and a table. That's all about shadow and the play of it. Go ahead. This is Kingfish Christone. Kingfish Christone is a young lion blues player, great guitar player. After he saw this photo, he weighs about 310 pounds. He said he's down below 300. I don't think so. He picked me up and hugged me like a teddy bear, you know, kind of thing. Because he picked me up because he loves this photo. He goes, I look good. Go ahead. Yes. Okay, I photographed an airplane on a runway coming at me. I had to sign. I'm sorry?
Was he honking too?
No. The thing is this photograph, the reason I made this photograph is because Clear Channel, if you remember Clear Channel, they do things for airports, and this was done for my hometown airport. And long story short, there's a 10-page thing, and on every page it said, in the event of your untimely death, I had to sign and initial it. In the end, he goes, look, if you die, we're not liable. I said, yeah, I know. So I called Kathy a few minutes before that, and I said, well, if somebody calls and it's not me, then we're going to have an airport named after us. I made this shot on the test run. We had 3 chances. I made it on the first series of shots, the test shots. This is done with a long lens. I don't remember a millimeter. And yes, a plane comes over the top of you. If you've ever stood under a plane that close and you're standing on the runway, it's like standing next to a bonfire. It's kind of warm down there. And it was so warm that the guy that took us out onto the runway wouldn't go out with us. Isn't that real helpful? Go ahead. This is a edifice in Italy. Go ahead. That's a fashion ad, recent, for the place in St. Pete. Go ahead. This is a friend of mine named Preach and Ron Williams. He's cut off his dreads. He said they're dirty now. So he's got short hair. It's kind of funny. Go ahead. Yes, go.
How are most of your customers finding you?
You know, I really don't know. No, I'm sorry. I learned something really early on. And in my career, if you're so creative, then you have to be creative with your marketing. I used to do a ton of direct mail. Then I started using the internet and then email blast. And I've continued that. So I've gotten clients from all over the world through recommendations, through somebody says, geez, I really like Art Becker. He's a really good photographer. I did the job in somebody in Chicago, and I said, you have tens of thousands of great photographers in Chicago. Why me? He goes, you went to work for this person, and when you were there, he said one thing that everybody learned about you is you just walked out and went, all right, give me the parameters. Give me the parameters. He goes, all right, let me do my job. I just walk around and shoot. Because that's what I do. And so part of it is reputation. Part of it is I'm easy to get along with. I have a pretty ironclad stomach, so I can eat all the bad food that you usually get in the road. I don't do that. I eat good food. So they have to pay me well to do that. And this is a 1931 hearse, the hood ornament. Go ahead. Next should be, okay. This is a little girl that Kathy used to buy her ice cream, and her mother said she couldn't have ice cream, and we gave her ice cream because that's what we do. And this is her mother came into the tent.
Art, you're saying you want to introduce Kathy?
Oh, I'm sorry. Stand up. That's the woman who puts up with me. Hell, Kathy, I didn't even get an applause. Go ahead. Go ahead. This is for the United Farm Workers. They had this guy on a tractor, and he was in the middle of this field, and he was plowing. And he came off the tractor and he says, let me get this straight. That's all you do is take pictures all day? I said, yeah. I said, when you look at your farm, what do you see? And he stood there and he put his hips on his hand and he looked like that. That's just an old-fashioned double exposure. Go ahead. That's that hearse, and that's the hood army. You can see it up there. That's for Siegel Funeral Home. Interesting client. Kathy and I were photographing him. Funeral home directors are very strange. Go ahead. That's Tampa Art Museum in downtown Tampa. Just good kind of feeling to it. Go ahead. This is Dave Brubeck, the Dave Brubeck with his hands in his glasses when Mr. Brubeck died. This is one of 3 photos that was at his celebration of life. And he sent me a handwritten note, said, Dear Art, I've had probably millions of photographs taken of me. He said, and one of my all-time faves, Dave Brubeck. Not too bad. Go ahead. Yes, that's in Orlando, standing on a ledge while my wife was watching me, being silly. Go ahead. Another hood ornament of a Pierce Arrow car, I think it's Pierce Arrow. Go ahead. That's the Dali. I couldn't figure out what the hell to do with the dolly, and I couldn't get good photographs. And when I was making photographs, I was frustrated. So for the better part of the time we've lived there, I couldn't get photographs, and I sat there and went, wait a minute. He's a surrealist. I can do this in post. That's where the bend comes from. And they love it now. Go ahead. I think that's it, right? Is that it? These are the mannequins. Go ahead. Yeah, they are strange. And no, I don't dress them. It's just a real uncomfortable thing. Go ahead. There's a photo that Kathy and I saw, and when that little boy turned, and it got perfect side lighting, and she held up her hand to feel the heat. Go ahead. That's the only time I've ever used AI. Made my friend look like Zeus. Go ahead. That's me in the airplane. Ask Kathy. I'm the worst person on the planet next to. You should get a 15% discount if you sit next to me on a plane because I am antsy and I take pictures. Go ahead. That's it? No, there's one more.
There is?
Sure, isn't there?
Oh, there is just one more.
Go ahead. That's just a cool shadow shot. Go ahead. Nice young man. I like the fall. And where's VJ? VJ's at the end. Okay, this is not Walter Matthau. This is VJ Kaiser, my high school art teacher. He changed my life. He's the reason I'm standing here. He's the reason I got to travel all over the world and make photographs. He's the reason I'm an artist, and he's got a character face. VJ was a good Catholic guy, and he had 9 children. And he put his arm around me once. I said, VJ, why 9 children? He goes, Artie, I never really liked TV. That's VJ, my friend and my mentor, and like a second father to me. All right, we're good.
Before we do, let's all give Art a huge round of applause.
And thanks for rolling with the punches, honey. You did